Smiling faces. It's nice to see smiling faces out there. Good afternoon. We're here to talk about surviving the skills revolution. So what is that? It's all about taking care of our people, our most important asset in our business. I have some tough questions to ask all of you out there. What keeps you up at night? Is it attracting great talent? Is it retaining people? Is it diversity? Or is it training your current workforce? Each of us need to ask ourselves, are we doing everything we can to prepare our workforces for the future? A lot of tough questions. I know it keeps me up at night. We are minds of all kinds. Let me introduce the team to you. We have Jim Haydock from Bimbo Bakeries, Cameron Wilkerson from Ball Foods, Angela Lopez from Fry's Food and Drug, Kara Pudens from Nestle, Enrique Gonzalez from Vallarta Markets, and myself, Wayne Heaton from Albertsons. Times are changing, whether we're ready for it or not.
The times, they are a-changing. Powerful new forms of automation are fundamentally reshaping our world. Robotics, computer algorithms, and artificial intelligence are increasing productivity and improving lives. But what happens to our jobs? New research by the McKinsey Global Institute suggests that while enough new work can be generated for everyone, there are serious challenges in how we manage the transition. Between 3% and 14% of the global workforce may need to switch occupational categories or acquire new skills by 2030, depending on how quickly automation is adopted. It's a revolution that could be on par with the biggest shifts in employment in history. First out of agriculture, and more recently out of manufacturing. But just as in those earlier revolutions, it's not just that some jobs are lost, but that even more jobs change. In emerging economies, middle-wage jobs such as office support workers and customer service staff could grow, while in advanced economies, middle-wage jobs may decline. In advanced economies, jobs like healthcare providers and technology professionals may be in demand, but these occupations will require more education, social skills, creativity, and high-level cognitive abilities. To ensure that displaced workers are re-employed quickly, leaders must act now. To ensure robust demand growth, innovation, and economic dynamism. To upgrade workforce skills, especially retraining mid-career workers. To improve labour mobility, and to modernise transition and income support. History shows that technological change can benefit us all by investing in the workforce and adapting policies, institutions, and business models to the new era. It also teaches us that when the times are a-changing, the time to act is now.
When I think back when I started in the grocery business 30 years ago, and where we're at today with technology, it absolutely amazes me. When I first started, scanners were just introduced, and I was still price marking the entire store. A lot has changed in that time period, right? But has it really? Have we really evolved the business, and have we changed fast enough to keep up with the customer demand? I say no. I say we have a lot to work on to get the ball rolling. We're here today to reskill, rethink, and reset the mindset of the current industry that we're in today. We'll talk about jobs impacted, and we'll also talk about steps to reset the current mindset in Industrial Revolution 4.0. Jobs will be changing in the future, and we must keep up with that change.
Job uncertainty is a major issue in our industry that no one's talking about. Job uncertainty increases stress, reduces worker productivity, and overall job satisfaction. How is all this job uncertainty created? Automation. Several industries are going to be impacted by the rapid adoption of automation, meaning they, and more importantly you, as leaders of the industry, are going to have to take part in the skills revolution. The top industries impacted are food service, manufacturing, transportation, warehousing, and retail trade, all with greater than 50% of their activities susceptible to automation. A majority of these activities are physical ones in predictable environments, like meal preparation, food, out-of-stock detection, pricing, and assembly line work. So what does all this mean? People will be impacted. A majority of these people will be frontline workers with high school education, but little to no college education. These people tend to be at lower grades of the pay scale and hold positions at lower tiers of the organization. These are your top candidates for reskilling and upskilling. By the year 2030, 75 million people could be displaced by the Industrial Revolution 4.0.
We are currently living in a generation full of new technology constantly emerging within the workplace. This rapid transformation of digitalization is not only affecting jobs, but society itself. These technological disruptions creating shifts among the workforce is known as Industrial Revolution 4.0. With technologies such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and automation, they represent challenge, but also represent hope. Even if machines are to take over certain human capabilities within an occupation, that doesn't necessarily mean that that job will disappear completely, but it may require for people to invest in new skill sets. Industrial Revolution 4.0 should be viewed more as a calling to embrace technology to help enable efficiency and to mitigate job uncertainty. Industry leaders must act now in preparing their people for the changes to come. We can begin by reskilling our workforce. Now, although there are many great skill sets out there in which people can learn, studies have shown that the ones listed above are the most crucial and essential for the future. STEM skills are the foundation of the digital age. Since computers and AIs are able to create and store data, it is up to people to learn, organize, and interpret that data being made to make great decisions based off of that information. Next within the STEM category is information technology, more specifically, mobile technology. On average, people tend to check their phones 85 times a day. So gaining expertise within this field would be beneficial for the overall consumer experience by developing mobile applications, software, as well as mobile applications and software. Excuse me. Next, it is also vital, and more importantly, to excel in the skill sets in which computers are incapable of learning. These fall under emotional intelligence and leadership principles. Now, with those two subjects alone, this will help promote effective communication, promote positive interaction within one another, and also help shape and create future industry leaders. We can enhance these skill sets through the collaboration of one another.
In addition to training your people with these critical skills that we just walked you through, we believe it is imperative that we start to collaborate with all the individuals here in the room today. Why not collaborate with retailers, manufacturers, and wholesalers to come up with a solution to how we can lead the food industry in the future? What we're proposing is to start small. Start with a job shadowing. You could take a CPG account manager and shadow a buyer at a manufacturer or wholesale or retailer. Spend a day seeing what each other's pain points are and start to identify in a very small chunk of what we're facing and what the similarities are there. You could take this to other levels of the organization. You could have that same CPG account manager shadow a DM and start to connect the dots of what's going on between the headquarters and the retailers and where we can find some synergies and start to create and find those opportunities to lead the change in the future. Where do we see this being a huge benefit? First of all, it's identifying the opportunities and the innovations that are impacting all of us. Every single one of us in the room are in this industry together, so we need to identify the key pain points together. And by crossing each other's shoes and wearing them for a day, we will identify those. Number two, it's critical that we show our people that we're investing in them. This is a great way to take some of our top talent and make sure they know that we believe in them and we're with them and behind them for the future. By doing this job shadow, it's going to create more engaged employees as well as identifying these key opportunities I mentioned. And last, we can find out what people are doing across organizations to train their individuals. We can learn from each other and move forward to change the future of the food industry. And I'm sure you guys are wondering now, how are we going to start this collaboration? Well, conveniently enough, you have 32 FIM grads as of tomorrow in this room, and I know many of you sitting in these seats have already been part of this program. Why can't we start with FIM alumni? Why can't we keep the connection going after we leave here and go back to our jobs and make sure that we don't forget all the great things we've learned? Now, we can't keep doing what we've been doing, so we're going to talk to you a little bit about how we need to change our current mindset.
Did you know 25 million frontline associates have little to no skill sets to move forward in career mobility? No longer can we train our associates at the beginning of their careers. It has to be ongoing and it has to be continuous. To successfully reskill our industry, we must reset the mindset by providing skills that will help our associates better perform in their roles. Also, this will help them move into higher paying jobs. And last, we all know that turnover hurts our bottom line. And by providing skills, it will allow us to have opportunities so our people can move forward in our industry. To reskill our industry, it equals significant benefits. Studies show that our people feel as though we are making an investment in them when we reskill and retrain. There's a study showing that there is a positive impact on the morale, customer service, absenteeism, and also turnover. By 2025, 75% of our global workforce will consist of millennials. And millennials are not only looking at companies that have financial performance, great financial performance, they're also looking at companies that contribute to society. And these are key when they're looking for their jobs. By reskilling our industry, we will retain and attract our associates. And when we invest in our people, they in turn want to invest in us. Now let's see what other companies are doing to reskill their futures.
By now, you're on the edge of your seat because you recognize how big of an issue this is for the industry. And if I was in your seat, I'd have a few questions. Like, what are they doing in other industries? Well, Lowe's and Home Depot have recognized the potential skill gap of 500,000 by 2026. And both have taken action to close that skill gap. Lowe's offers $2,500 for their employees to go back to school to earn certifications in the trade of their choice. And Home Depot is donating $50 million to nonprofits to do the exact same thing. The next question I'd have, how is this relative? How does this work with the grocery business? What kind of results are people seeing? Well, Dollar General and Walmart are seeing improved results. Dollar General uses a training called Know Your Customer. And in 2016, they saw a 7.9% increase in revenue. Walmart uses a training called Pathways. And in 2016, employee retention improved by 10%. The next question I'd have is, how does this filter down to the bottom line? Well, engaged employees are happy employees. And happy employees are 12% more efficient. Unhappy employees are disengaged employees. And disengaged employees call in sick 11 more times a year on average. That may not sound like much, but that cost is $1,800 per employee per year. If you have 200 employees, that's $360,000 being negatively impacted to the bottom line. And disengaged employees, they don't stay with the company very long. So the cost to replace them is twice their annual salary. Let's stick with the same 200 employees. Assume we have a 10% turnover rate. And the average salary in Los Angeles is $56,000 a year. You do the math, that's $2.2 million to the bottom line. The last question I'd have is, when is this presentation going to be over? So I can talk to everyone else in this room about this big idea of collaboration.
Over 50% of our retail trade, manufacturing, warehousing, and food processing positions have potential to be automated. While only 5% of all jobs can be completely automated, by 2020, 1/3 of our current skills are going to be obsolete. That is why it's critical now that we invest in our employees and show them how to work with technology and maximize its potential instead of fearing its potential. Our people are our #1 asset, and in order to survive this industrial revolution, we need to reskill, rethink, and reset the mindset in this room. First of all, we need to reskill. Think back to those critical skills that we were discussing earlier, the STEM skills, the employee engagement. We need to increase the mobile technologies as well as the leadership principles that we are teaching our employees. And second, we need to rethink how we're going to collaborate with everybody in the room here today. Reach out to those FIM alumni. We all want to network with everyone that we've met. Why can't we keep this going and create a better collaboration and job shadowing to identify some of the key issues in our industry to make us survive in the future? And last, reset the mindset. We can no longer train our employees at the beginning of their career and expect them to be able to succeed and live on into the future. We need to continuously educate our employees and show them that we're investing in them. When you leave here today, assure your people of their job certainty by investing in them, training them, and providing them all the skills they need to lead us into the future and make every one of our organizations a big success. Not only will this see increased revenues, reduced turnover, but you will also have increased customer satisfaction, and we all know that increases everyone's bottom line. Business has never been this fast, and yet it will never be this slow again. Now is our opportunity to train our employees. We want to thank you for your time and open it up to questions.
Hey, great job, guys. Congratulations. Hey, can you expand a little bit on the STEM training? I was interested in that. I thought that was I haven't heard it before.
Yeah, absolutely. So STEM skills, which deals with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Thank you. So with that, we really wanted to focus in on that because throughout all of our extensive research, we've noticed that 10, 15, 20 years from now, we're unsure of what the jobs, what jobs are going to be available, which new jobs are going to be created. But we wanted to really focus on technology, specifically technology, because a lot of the mundane jobs are going to shift over to machines and technology. So that's why we really wanted to focus in on STEM.
Hi, this is Cherie. I'm the Retail Management Certificate Director. Two of our companies on this stage use the Retail Management Certificate program to create the foundation you need to move frontline workers into sustaining careers that utilize the emotional intelligence, the leadership, the customer service, a lot of the things that cannot be displaced by automation. I'm curious how much you looked into that and whether or not you think it's something you would recommend.
Absolutely. So we looked into a lot of the organizations that are out there, and by no means are things not being addressed that we discussed today, but it's taking it to the next level and making sure that all organizations have these opportunities. So not just in retail, but in CPG and across wholesale and everybody, making sure this is broader and something that we're entrusting internally and not just outside. But absolutely, those are great programs, and we should definitely collaborate on how we can continue to extend what's already being done and getting it out to the masses to make sure that everyone's prepared.
Hi, everyone. Great job. I know training has been always a discussion point, I think, over the years in this industry. So as you are focusing on STEM and the science and technology component of it, what part of the retail or CPG parts of the organization would you prioritize to take the first step?
I can take that. So our big focus, when Ricky talked about STEM skills, our big focus is on our people, and that's whether it be the frontline associates that deal with our customers every day and really make sure that they feel good about their jobs now, Because 5-10 years from now, we don't know what that's going to look like. But today, we know that we need to take care of those folks on the front line and moving forward all the way through. And for the CPGs too, their frontline associates are who deal with the retailers. So also, it's all about frontline associates making sure our teams feel good about where they're at right now in the business.
Hi. Hi, great job. Thank you. When you looked at some of the investments that you have to make in terms of investment in your people, did you take a look at any cost associated with investment of the people? That, that continues to just be a rub on where you really want to put the money when it comes to the bottom line. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So we looked at it, and the way that it's basically bucketed is large organizations, for example, I work for Nestle, can spend upwards of $12 million a year on training. A smaller organization spends $500,000 a year, and then everything in between. So what we were basically looking at is currently technology training is about 5%. So we don't necessarily see that your training bucket has to get bigger. It's just going to be a shift of what you're actually training your employees on and making sure you're training them on the critical skills of the future. So that 5% is going to need to increase significantly, but can still be done within the buckets that all the companies are allocating across training.